Well, I started writing the album at the beginning of the pandemic. Perhaps I had a couple of ideas before, but this album differs to my previous work because I've written it over the period of, 18 months. The biggest thing for me was having ideas sort of layered on top, and then I had thoughts about what instruments I wanted to use and stuff like that. So before, the way I've worked is I've written a bunch of songs and I've gone into the studio with musicians who were available and who I liked or whatever. But doing it like this, I had a lot more time to think about options. My granddad died a couple of years ago and he left me some money, so this album is partly dedicated to him, and the money that he left me has paid for the studio hire and the string quartet, and there was a little bit left over which I've spent on beer and curry. So I wanted to be able to raise a bit more cash for to pay the musicians and everybody's travel, everything that's involved with making an album. So I decided to put the demos on my website, which were then available for download, so people could download the demos. So I've got a bit of cash to work with in advance, and then the idea is that when the album is finished, you get that amount of money back from the finished product, whether it be LP, CD or download. So and that's really helped a lot, so that goes towards paying some of the musicians and things like that. So. Can I strike up a bargain or two with you? I hate to hear your back door slam. You have something I can read. We'll start with Dave, Big Dave Small. We've been playing together for a decade now, maybe a bit more. Dave is such a field drummer. If you say to Dave, this song's got a bar of 5, a bar of 8, a bar of 5, and then a bar of 7, he'll go like, he'll melt. So he's just a field drummer, and he does everything. From feeling it. He's not a very technical player. And I really like that. On the album there are some very technical players, so we've got a very nice mixture. You're circling the blood. And then, very decadently, I've got 2 bass players on this album, upright bass and electric bass. And upright bass has been supplied by John Parker, who's become a good friend of mine. He's an exceptional player, but also quite sympathetic to the song. I sometimes have to tell him, John, calm down a bit, play 20% less and stuff.
He actually hasn't said that for a little while. When we did a duo tour, he was like, yeah, it's really cool. Could you 20% less maybe? And I'd be like, okay. And then trying to work out what 20% or less of billions of notes was, but
he always gets it sorted in the end. And then there were other tracks where double bass was perhaps not the right choice, so I brought in a guy called Jamie Brewster. I think that's his surname. I think that's his Instagram name anyway, Jamie Brewster. And I met Jamie. I played a support slot for Jamie and his wife Rachel, who also sings on the album. We did a little gig together at a little cafe in Sheffield in England, and I was completely blown away by them. Rachel Jean Harris, she's called. I've been listening to her music since that gig, and during the pandemic I've probably listened to her album more than anything else. I'm a real fan. So when Rachel and Jamie agreed to be on the album, I was delighted, and they really brought a lot of positive vibes and textures and colours to the album, which have made it much better than it otherwise would have been.
Spew it with conviction to drown me out. God forbid I offend you and your little crew. Overloaded little minds, fragile ego bruise.
My concept for the whole album is it's got to be interesting. It has to be interesting. And it has to be different to what I've done before, because I'm absolutely terrified of repeating myself.
When I first played Compass in the Sand, which is the 10-minute masterpiece on the record, I remember I had to score the whole thing out when I was just playing double bass, because it was like this just moves everywhere. You know, it's complicated. And now I've completely learned it, thank God, because we've got a gig in. So.
Deals with 7 heads and 7 armies fill. Guns protect those from those with a gun. There's no food on the table when the bridges are burning.
Yeah, so I've really just jumped in blind to a lot of this album. Because of the money that I managed to get hold of to finance the album before coming to the studio. So I was a lot more relaxed this time, and it's not quite on such a shoestring budget as normal. Brad came to us as a suggestion from Rachel and Jamie. And I'd not met him. I'd not seen him play. I'd not heard any of his stuff. I just asked him if he wanted to come and play on the album, and he said yes. And he's turned up and put some great stuff down. Some really nice stuff. Some of it is copying what Michi Ertl did on the demos, which we recorded in Germany, and he's brought some of his own stuff to it as well, which has been really fantastic. And today, anytime now, Matt Woosey should be walking through the door, and he came as a recommendation from Dave. So again, I've not met him, I've not heard any of his stuff, I've not, I know he's currently playing in Robert Plant's band, so that can't be a bad recommendation. So, he's the last one to put his stuff down today, so looking forward to that.
Right there and it's baking the bathing to a crusty brown. Not a care to be found.
Yeah, I'm not playing. So I started off playing a lot of blues music and kind of like foot stomping, kind of high energy stuff. And as I've sort of got a bit older, I find myself moving ever further away from it. And so this seemed about the right time in my career to, and the songs were suitable for a string quartet.
I hate to hear your back door slam.
They came to me as a recommendation from Tony. He's worked with them a lot before, and they've done a lot of work with some big names, you know, that they do all the Manic Street Preachers stuff, and they've worked with loads of people, and so again I just jumped blindly in and said, okay, well, book them, get them to come in, and they've done 4 songs on the album, including Compass in the Sand, which is kind of like a song within a song as well. So when they started playing on the first track that they came in to do, I felt a bit choked up, felt quite emotional really. They've really brought something amazing to the songs. For any people that have heard my last album or a few of my albums, this is really something quite special and different, and they have brought a big chunk to that.
The compass needle cannot lie. Whether you wear princess robes or beggar's rags, you Never gonna miss the things you never had, and the wicked winds may blow.
All of my album, everything I've ever recorded stems from me and my guitar and my voice. So I've always been out gigging those songs before I'd got into a studio environment, and I can do that with these songs. I've got even Compass in the Sand, which is 9 minutes long and has all of the instruments and all of the strings and everything, and huge layers of backing vocals, which I wrote myself. It has all of that, but I can still whittle all of it down and perform it on my own, because that's how everything started. So for people involved in the process, it might be difficult to imagine, but for me, it's not a problem. I can play it all on my own. Although, obviously, when I'm performing it, I'm missing everything else. But I think music has to be like that, really. Yeah, or sort of the kind of music that I play, it has to stem from guitar, my guitar and vocals.